They thought they were getting a simple haircut. But in one Nigerian town, a barber was cutting more than hair, he was cutting away people's destinies. What happens when the hands that touch your head are not just styling, but stealing? It was a busy modern town, full of honking motorcycles, traders shouting prices, and children chasing each other through narrow streets. In the middle of it all stood a small barber shop, a bright sign, clean chairs, and music always playing from a speaker outside. The shop was a favorite for many. Students came after school, businessmen stopped by before work, and even local politicians liked to sit in the chair for a fresh cut before public events. To the people, the barber was more than a stylist. He was part of their lives, trusted and familiar. But behind the music and the laughter, whispers began to spread. Customers who visited his shop started complaining. Some said their businesses collapsed shortly after a haircut. Others spoke of strange illnesses in their families. At first, no one connected the dots. But the more it happened, the harder it was to ignore. The barber himself seemed harmless, always smiling, always greeting customers with a joke. His hands were quick with the clippers, and he never left anyone waiting too long. The townspeople, ordinary men and women working hard to survive, trusted him fully. After all, he had cut their hair for years without issue. But there was one who noticed what others overlooked, a curious teenager who lived across the street. He saw that after every haircut, the barber carefully swept up the hair and never threw it away. Instead, he sealed it in black nylon bags, tied tightly, and stored them in a locked cupboard. The boy asked himself again and again, why would anyone keep so much hair? Soon, strange events grew harder to dismiss. A successful trader, once the pride of the marketplace, suddenly went bankrupt. A young student, always healthy, fell sick without warning and never recovered fully. Families whispered that misfortune seemed to follow anyone who had sat in the barber's chair too recently. People grew uneasy, but fear kept their mouths shut. Who would dare accuse a man so well loved, with so many connections? But the teenager's curiosity burned hotter. One evening, he waited outside, hidden in the shadows. When the barber closed his shop and slipped away with one of the nylon bags, the boy followed silently. And what he saw would change everything. The barber walked quickly, moving through back alleys until he reached the edge of the town. There, in a deserted compound, a fire flickered. Shadows danced on the walls, and the sound of drums carried in the night. The boy crept closer, his heart pounding. He saw the barber hand over the bag of hair to a man dressed in strange garments. The man's voice was low but clear. Every strand carries a soul. With more hair, more power. The boy's stomach turned as realization struck. The barber was selling people's hair for dark rituals, feeding a wicked trade that brought curses on the community. Then the boy gasped too loudly. The barber's head snapped around. For a moment, their eyes met. The boy's legs nearly gave way as the barber shouted and began to move toward him. But fear gave him wings. He ran faster than he had ever run in his life, weaving through the streets until he reached safety. By dawn, the boy had told everything to his parents, and together they went to the police station. At first, the officers were doubtful until the boy described the exact compound. That evening, the police raided the place. They found the ritualist, the bags of hair, and evidence too strong to deny. The barber was dragged from his shop in handcuffs, his smile gone, his reputation shattered. The people gathered in shock, watching as the man they had trusted was exposed. The elders shook their heads, and one of them spoke words the crowd would never forget. The head that plots evil will one day carry the burden of its own shame. And for the barber, that shame came in the form of flashing sirens and cold steel cuffs. The tale of the wicked barber became a warning across the town and beyond. It reminded everyone that evil does not always wear horns or carry a weapon. Sometimes it holds a clipper and smiles like a friend. This story teaches us that trust is sacred. Be careful who you allow to touch your head, your life, your destiny. Now I ask you, what would you have done if you were the one who discovered the barber's secret? Would you have spoken up, or stayed silent? Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe for more African stories that carry timeless lessons.